All right, welcome back to Redline. It's Fire Fridays here with Sam Riddle and Tony Motley. We're talking about all things politics. Let's go to the phone lines. Robert, 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the number to call and chime in this conversation. The race for governor, the 2018 Democratic ticket. Robert, go ahead.
How's it going, fellas?
Okay.
Good job.
Hey, look, I only heard one candidate that talk about trying to reopen the mental ill institutions. I heard one candidate that talked about how we sending grant money back to the state and to the federal government that should be used right here in Michigan to beautify our state. I heard one candidate talk about when you leave out of Michigan, I don't care where you go around the world, they say Detroit, Michigan, and when you come to Detroit, ride down the streets, it's a total mess because there's only 2 vacant houses on each block. I only heard one candidate talking about lowering their insurance rates. I only heard one candidate that talked about helping with poverty. That Tanner Dar, they can call him Darth Vader, whatever they call him. This guy is serious. He talked about testing the water in Flint and who profited when they changed that water in Flint. So let's get serious when we talk about, I don't even want to hear Shooty's name because this was a setup. How you going to have one day you say that they're going to take the water, the next day all of a sudden it's a grand plan to try to stop them from taking the bottled water. We don't want to hear that anymore. It shouldn't be living in Flint right now because of the structure of Flint has been contaminated. So when we talk about, my name is Robert, and I think I'm a political genius. I've been into the Sam know who I am.
So your candidate is Shuri Tanida, huh?
Yeah, I know Robert. Robert is a very bright guy who obviously is working for Shuri.
I'm not working for anybody.
You're advocating. I'm sorry, advocating for Shuri.
You are an unofficial surrogate, huh?
When we went to Cobo Hall, and you better get back down there this weekend, when you listen to the different candidates, when you talk to them personally, I want to talk to you personally. I want to look into your eyes, and I want you to explain to me, why do you think Michigan is not up to the standard that it should be? And when they come with solutions, but he's talking about going to the big three, and they should be contributing to our neighborhoods. How you going to get a bailout? And now you got profits.
Okay.
Down the street from where you are is vacant houses.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Robert. 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the number to call and chime in this conversation. Robert is making the case for Shuri Tanida, but except Shuri has been saying those things in other places, I did not hear it. We had a town hall, a poverty town hall exclusively.
Right. He struggled with that.
Yeah, he struggled. I mean, he couldn't really answer some basic questions. He kept going over and over again.
He struggles wherever he doesn't have cue cards. Sam, that's cold. Well, I'm like that. You don't like it? Too bad.
Yeah, and it's that town hall at King High School was instructive in terms of just how the candidates responded.
Very much so.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see how Shuri had to struggle on some basic questions, and it was a town hall.
Yeah,
he
seemed a little unprepared, and I think the audience that day was very aggressive.
It was an aggressive audience,
and I think he wasn't prepared for that.
No, and that whole comedic thing he does.
Yeah.
If I make you smile or laugh, you're a vote.
Right.
That's very disingenuous. It doesn't work. People are in too much pain.
Right. Absolutely.
To have a comedian run for governor.
Well, it's funny you said it because I kept on saying I don't know whether he thought he was making an appearance on Saturday Night Live or what.
You said that.
And I remember I saw him at the Michigan Legacy dinner, by the way. I didn't talk to him, but I was headed out to the bar to get a drink outside of the hall, and then I saw him. He came out, and I saw him walking. He was taking his steps. People were coming up to him, and it just like, I don't know whether he was trying to moonwalk like Michael Jackson, whatever he was trying to do. He was just having a good time. That was Shuri.
Yeah, he may be a great guy. I don't know him. He spent millions of dollars for people to learn his first name. I mean, if you can spend millions of dollars for people to learn your first name, you might could have got the same mileage the way things are going by shipping train and truckloads of water to Flint.
He seems politically naive, though. I think he wasn't ready for prime time. He wasn't ready for prime time.
Well, I think he may well be in the process of getting hustled by people who claim to be political consultants who really aren't. the political hucksters.
And he has a lot of handlers, right?
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for him.
Well, if you have money, obviously, I'm sure that it attracts a lot of people.
Agreeing with Sam, I think that may be part
of
it.
And you know what? The guy may be a progressive Democrat, but I think he's not been able to articulate what that is. I think that's it's a heavy description, a progressive Democrat. I mean, if you are a progressive Democrat, I think you need to be able to show that, and I think if you're a progressive Democrat and you are in a town hall on poverty, you own that. You own that real estate of issues.
Yeah, but he conducted himself at the town hall on poverty as if he had some speech writers and some folks who had written talking points that he hadn't absorbed because he doesn't live that ideological thrust of a progressive.
And that was the struggle he had. You hit it on the head. To present his message when confronted with those specifics about poverty and about what he was going to do, his action plan, he really struggled with that.
Now, he's had a personal life. His personal life is a great story. But now how do we take your personal struggles, your accomplishments professionally, some of which are going to prove a little suspect down the road as op research continues to roll in. But how do you take that and roll it into a package that communicates policy differences between Cherie's administration and Snyder's?
Right.
I mean, you have to be able to articulate that. Yeah, we know how to pronounce your name now.
I think the name thing has been cute, but I don't know what he's going to do beyond that.
Yeah, we know how to pronounce your name, but what are you going to do?
Right.
No, it's interesting because when Gretchen mentioned that about putting a cabinet level poverty liaison in her cabinet, which I think is significant. And one would expect, if you're a progressive Democrat, to come back at that and say, in fact, guess what? I might even go beyond that. This is what I plan to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no real comeback to that. And, if you're a progressive Democrat, I don't see how you can talk about being a progressive Democrat without going back to the New Deal. And it's just, I thought there was, because 2018 provides a lot of opportunity. We've been celebrating, the 50 years of so-and-so, the 50th anniversary of Dr. King, 50th anniversary of, the Great Society, all these things. And these are all in the wheelhouse of a progressive Democrat.
You know what?
It's so simple, though. You know what I mean? It's not difficult.
From that poverty town hall.
Right.
The thing that's lacking to me is none of them really seem to be able to put their hands around where people are right now and how they're really hurting. They don't, identifying with the poverty that people are suffering with. They don't, none of them really seem to get it.
And the other thing, Sam, and I'll let you come in here, we'll take some call. But the other thing here is that, look, I don't begrudge Cherie. I think, obviously he's an, exceptional entrepreneur, has been able to, to make a lot of money. He's a quintessential American story, just like a lot of people, and, have been able to do. But I don't see what there's no compelling attraction, if you will, or no compelling graph in his story, aside from the fact that, I came here and was poor. Well, a lot of people could claim that. The question here is that at some point in your journey, right, having amassed all this material resource, all this wealth and so forth, can we say, in fact, Cherie is like, was, the biggest donor to a charity that helped poor people, or, Alternative for Girls, like he's been their biggest, you know what I mean? You know how, the United Nations has this ambassador for goodwill, like Harry Belafonte was, because Harry Belafonte gives tons of money to orphanages and, around the world. Can we say Cherie has that in his story? I didn't see that.
He doesn't.
Instead, what we saw is on YouTube, there's a video of him on YouTube showing about his mansions, his swimming pools, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, and the thing of it is, a few years ago, there was a guy who had been more Democrat than anything, but who said he was entertaining the thought of running for president, but he probably would do it as a Republican because they were dumber. Now, how do we know that there's not another guy that decides that he wants to run for governor of Michigan? No real history with the Democratic Party, no real history with addressing the issues of the people. And he says, but I'm going to run as a Democrat because there are a lot of people in pain in Michigan, and I can pimp that pain to the governor's mansion. Sam, are you accusing Cherie of that? Yeah.
Wow. Strong statements there.
Wow.
Strong.
And I have no evidence to believe what Sam said, but that's his opinion.
It's just none of these people. I mean, Dr. King was one of the people. He wasn't a candidate,
right?
But he walked with the people.
Right.
He knew their pain.
Right.
And none of these candidates did.
Yeah, and then of course you have Bill Cobbs, Abdul Al-Sayed.
Both at 2%.
But what about their messages? Because we saw all of them on stage at the town hall meeting.
It's hard not to like what Saeed says.
Right. It looked like that night. It looked like Saeed stole Bill Cobb's lunch money because Bill Cobbs went after him hard.
Well, they were like there was all but a fight. I mean, Bankerley had to step in between them.
I meant to ask what did.
And now Bankerley's being attacked by Cobb. I mean, and no one's hating on Bill Cobb. I think that in another setting, in the corporate world, he should have excelled in the corporate workplace. Unfortunately, running for governor of Michigan is a bit more complex, believe it or not, than the corporate workplace. And the authoritarian demeanor, if you will, which may work well when you're wearing a badge and carrying a billy club, does not work so well when you're running for governor.
Not at all. Compromise.
Yeah, that town hall was quite interesting, though, to see the back and forth, the way Cobbs came up to El-Sayed right away. I'm like, what's going on here?
It
seemed awfully personal.
Yeah.
And I agree with Sam. I liked El-Sayed's message. I liked him personally.
And then what was really
interesting.
But
he does have a history with Duggan.
Right. Well, he does. He does have a history. I think the city released some emails. But what was interesting also, I was just watching Bill Cobb's conduct on that stage. Now, mind you, I mean, it was an aggressive audience, but I mean, when you're on a stage, you're a candidate. I mean, I don't care how you feel. There are certain ways you conduct yourself because you're on a stage. People want to see you as a leader. They want to see you as somebody they can trust. They want to see you as someone who's open. They want to see you as someone who's respectful, someone who, they want to see you in the best of form, if you will.
He was not that.
But
I agree with you, but we're in a different age now.
But here's where I'm coming to though. So, I mean, he did a lot of snarking when Al-Sayed was speaking, he would turn around and laugh. I mean, it was like, and I was saying to him, I was moderate. I'm like, where is all this coming from?
But what we're witnessing.
I mean, it was like there's animals against Al-Sayed. I mean, it's one thing to attack him on his record, on the principle, but, all that snarking, I was like, what was that all about?
The temperament is an issue.
It was a temperament issue.
Is an issue. And, if you can't handle the stage of Martin Luther King Junior High School, how are you going to handle the really, really big stage?
Big stage, right. And honestly, if that had turned into a fight, that would not have surprised me that night because it was getting that ugly. It
would not have gone to a fight though. We could have just called the entire thing off. But I just thought it was just really. I didn't even. It's. I think when you're in front of an audience trying to sell your message, I think you're best focused on your message than trying to worry what your other colleague on the, what I mean? Right. That's what you do.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole concept of being on the battlefield of ideas.
Right. Exactly.
When you're asking for a vote and there are other candidates other than you, you're on a battlefield of ideas.
Right.
How you market your ideas, how you brand yourself, is critical to victory.
It is.
And you can't bully anyone into voting for you.
Right.
Doesn't work.
No question. And you certainly don't brand yourself by emailing a journalist, in this case myself, and trying to either insult me or call me out or whatever you called it, and then expect me to talk to you.
Right.
Well, but we're getting a lot of feedback on Facebook and whatnot,
a lot of feedback,
where people have attacked you, Bankerley, and then I'm collateral damage. I don't even name anyone by name, and I'm being attacked for being in the company of this guy, Tony. Be careful. Don't sit too close to Bankerley Thompson on Red Line.
Yes.
On Fire Friday.
Bankerley, boy, I tell you.
What's the phone number here, Bankerley?
313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the number to call and chime in. We'll go on a quick break.
Call and dog us out. We miss you.
Oh, boy. We'll be right back. Stay with us. It is